Welcome to Leadership Unfiltered, the podcast where real leaders get real about what it takes to succeed in today's fast-paced corporate world. I'm Dr. Dayan Douse, founder and president of P.R.I.D.E Consulting, a human behavior and development company serving as an executive coach and facilitator, working with organizations to deliver practical ways to evolve teams, advance organizations, and transform cultures. I hold a PhD in organization and management with over 2 decades of leadership experience in Fortune 500 companies. And I'm best-selling co-author of the book, Nothing But Net. I'm joined by my co-host, Phillip Smith. Phillip is a seasoned technology executive with extensive experience leading large-scale engineering teams and driving digital transformation. Over his 25 years of leadership experience, he has held multiple roles from supervisor to vice president. His personal brand is coder by blood, architect by trade, and leader by choice. Every episode will deliver real-world strategies, unfiltered advice, and the tools you'll need to take your leadership to the next level. Let's get started.
Welcome. In this episode of Leadership Unfiltered, we are going to cover goal setting, specifically goal setting for a team and balancing the goals that you set for the team against setting goals for individuals. It's important that goals that are shared, because you must win together. You must win as a team. But it's also important that folks understand how they individually contribute to the success of the team, because not everyone contributes equally and not everyone contributes in the same way. And so one of the failings that can happen as a leader is you create a fantastic set of team goals and you make that everyone's individual goal. So there is no distinction between the individual's goals and the team's goals. And I believe that's a failing. I believe that is part of the answer, but not the whole answer. What really needs to happen is you have to turn the team goal into a shared goal that everyone's contributing to, but you also need to add in individual goals so people know how they're going to contribute to the success of the goal. And the way that you can know that you're doing that is, one, by first setting a really good team goal, which needs to be smart. You need to have all of those great attributes in terms of specific, achievable, all those great attributes of SMART that make sure that it's clear, because we talked about it in a different episode about why clarity in leadership is so important. So you want to make sure that you have a clear goal that everyone has to contribute to. But it's also really important to tailor those and slice pieces of that goal and make sure that people understand the role that they're playing in achieving it.
I will say that throughout my career, in setting goals, there are 2 things. One, where I didn't do such a good job, and I did exactly what you said. I cascaded a team goal to everybody. But the team was mature enough to pick that apart and ask questions of, what does that mean to me? And so that made me take a second look, and it made sense that, to your point, I needed to individualize the goal so that the pieces of work that people were responsible for through in their goals, they could see themselves in those goals, and they could see, what it would take to achieve those goals and what support they might need if they were falling short of those goals. So that was good, but there were times that I made mistakes in just cascading to everybody a team goal. There's been those instances in my career, but I just know when I received really clear goals that I could see myself, I could see the work that I was responsible for in those goals. Those were the best leaders that I had. Those turned out to be the best experiences that I had. Didn't mean that I succeeded necessarily in everything that was in the goal, but I was clear about the expectation, which was the point. And then I could have those one-on-one coaching conversations with my leader that became very fruitful for me to understand where I was missing, because in that clarity of the goal, I can go right back to, this is where I'm falling short. This is where the gap is. And now we can talk specifically in our coaching sessions about what to do about it. There's times when I haven't had that clarity, that the coaching session is a bust because the leader's not really clear with me in the coaching session on where I'm failing or falling short or what to do about it. I don't know what questions to ask because the goal is so ambiguous and so unclear that I don't even know where to start. And so those have been both good and not so good times that I've had those experiences with setting goals. And we all do it as leaders, right? The other thing I'll say about setting goals, whether they're shared goals or individual team goals, is that they aren't static. You don't set them and forget them.
Yes.
You need to constantly be evolving those goals, revisiting those goals. They're live.
Yes.
Right? And so the team, I give them the environment to come back to me and share that there are new goals. There's extensions of those goals. There's offshoots of those goals. And we need to update those goals as we go. We're capturing all the good work that's being done, and we stay on track with the expectations. So to everybody listening, make sure that you don't just set those goals at the beginning of the year and then 6 months, 12 months into the year, have a session on whether they're achieving or issues or challenges with those goals. That you have constant conversations and evolve those goals as life happens.
The evolution of goals and making sure that they are a core part of your operations. Like, so I had conversations with when I was a leader of leaders in terms of goal setting, helping them do goal setting for their teams, which is the goals should not be added on top of their work. And so the goals should be in alignment with their work so that if they come into work every day and are doing a good job, they should be reaching their goals. That they should go hand in hand. Some of them had the perspective that, no, your goal is something that you need to be over and above you doing your job. And I'm like, but if the purpose of goals is to measure performance, and I'm going to say that again, if the purpose of the goals is to measure performance, how can it be over and above them doing a good job at their job they're being performance managed to? It seems circular logic to me. I'm like, no, the goals need to be in alignment with the work that they're doing. Getting to a place where leaders can understand that and have those goals to say it shouldn't matter. And the way that I do that is I craft the team goal, which is the what, not the how.
Yes.
Right? And that's another important thing about goal setting is the goal should represent the what, not the how. Because you should set the what for the team. And then the way that I create the loop is by saying, okay, what piece of this is yours?
Right.
Now, I want you to go off and write your goals that are your individual goals. Because I want them to write that check. I want them to make the commitment.
That's good.
And say, no, you're going to write your own goals that are individual. So what piece of this whole that I've given is yours?
Yes.
And that is such a great exercise because it forces them to then say, what's my role in this? And if they can't see the work that they do every day and the role that they're playing in the goal, something's off.
Yes.
Either there's something that they don't understand, which could be, and I've had that situation where they didn't understand the role that they needed to play. And then there's also the situation where the goal is incomplete. Like there was something I didn't understand as the leader that needed to be comprehended inside the goal so that they could see themselves.
Yes.
And so you play a bit of catchball. You go back and forth to fine-tune both the team goal and the individual goals. I believe in cascading team goals to individual goals. It's simply incomplete in that once you've cascaded them, it is then that your team's responsibility to write their individual goal. And then the checksum is to say, okay, if everyone has done their individual piece, does that equal the larger piece?
Yes.
And so you're playing this puzzle. You're putting when you're goal setting, and as you're evaluating the goals, as to your point, as the year unfolds, it should absolutely be a living, breathing document. And so as those pieces are moving, you need to make sure that the pieces are covered and the pieces equate to the whole.
Yes, that's good. And to your point of evaluation of the goals, it should be often, not the 6-12 month period, because again, things change, expectations change, demand changes, the what changes, and maybe not completely, but enough that it may change the individual goal and the expectations of the team. So we often, depending on how often you have your one-on-one, I would say part of your agenda in that one-on-one session should be some conversation around the goals and where they are. With the goals. Doesn't have to be the entire one-on-one conversation, but some part of the agenda in that one-on-one should touch on where they are with those goals that have been set. If they're achieving those, meeting those goals, or again, if there's a gap or a shortfall, you want to know that. I always wanted to, as an employee, I always wanted to know where I was. And I've had great leaders to have those conversations. One person that stands out that was always upfront with your goals and where you were and very direct in those conversations was Chris Garver. Didn't always have wasn't always a fun conversation, but that's because she was always direct with you. It was on her agenda that no matter, and you would always start a conversation with wherever you wanted to go with it.
Yes.
But at some point in that conversation, she was just going to briefly touch on, hey, you're doing a good job, keep it up, or you're missing on an expectation here, and we need to figure out what's going on, right? And so we've had quite a few of those conversations where I was missing, but I appreciated directness.
Yes.
The timing.
Yes.
That she didn't let things go long periods without you knowing where you were, because that gave her the opportunity to offer up any support that was needed, to get you any help that you needed, and gave you the opportunity to course correct early enough so there was no surprises at the mid-year or end of the year final rating, because that's a part of good goal setting and good evaluation of those goals. If there is a surprise at any one of those milestones, something went wrong.
Yes.
Something went terribly wrong that you are surprised. That means the conversations aren't being had, or you're not hearing.
Yep.
You're in denial.
Yes.
About what's being said about where you are with those goals. I would just say, make sure in the evaluation of your goals and those checkpoints that you're being direct, that you're having those conversations often, that you're making the necessary adjustments along the way, and that way there's no surprises mid-year, end of the year, or whatever those major milestones are as part of your evaluation process.
Yeah, I think the no surprises is a really good point. Because people should not be surprised by how they're performing.
Yes.
One of the recent maturations that I've come up with to enable the no surprises is there's traceability to every metric. Because again, if you have SMART goals, the M is measurable, right? So if they're measurable, then they should be measured.
Yes.
In which case, my operational scorecard and my strategic scorecard. So I should have traceability to every measure and metric that's in any one of my team's goals should be on either a strategic scorecard or an operational scorecard that we review as a team regularly. And what that did is it gave us an opportunity to talk about performance at the team level and at an individual level in a very safe way. Because if you couple that with It's okay to have a red as long as we've got an action plan. Because you don't want watermelon greens that are green on the outside but actually red on the inside. You don't want that. If you're creating the environment where you can talk about performance safely and you can get to the real issues, you can begin to have those conversations as a collective in terms of the what of the performance. Now, the why behind the performance may be an individual performance issue which you would have privately.
Yes.
But what the number is, that's just a numerator over a denominator, and it is what it is. And you can have the conversation about whether it's red, yellow, or green in public, so that there isn't any surprise about where we are, why and how we got there, and what we may need to do collectively. You can have that conversation publicly, but sometimes the what and the why, that is an individual performance issue, which you can then drive down because you captured it at the individual level. You can then have those conversations more privately. If you create that structure, you're able to drive a high level of performance with a low level of anxiety around it. And going back to a conversation that we had earlier around low performers, folks will opt out.
Right.
If you have a low performer that isn't interested in hitting the bar for a variety of reasons, they will opt out because they'll see this is where this is going. They'll see the trend line, like, oh, we're not going to hit it. Maybe this isn't the right place for me if all the other support and resources that you're looking to provide are going to be insufficient. You also give them the opportunity to renegotiate.
Yeah. Yes.
To say, okay, what we thought we were going to be able to do, we're not going to be able to do. So what do you want to do about it? And again, if you have the transparency that traceability provides through all of the goal plans to say, yes, what we need to do operationally is this, and this is how this maps into the performance, which is how you're going to be rated come the end of the year. And strategically, here's how this maps in, and this is going to drive the rating. It ends up creating a much more collaborative and safe space to talk about performance.
Yes. And you brought up traceability. And as a leader, part of your responsibility is not only setting the what or team goal, making sure that the individual goals trace back to larger team goal, but part of your responsibility is making sure that team goal aligns to the organizational goal.
Yes.
Right? So there should be full traceability from the individual to the team to the organization. And you should be making sure when you set up that team goal that you have ownership to that what, tying back and aligning to the organizational goal, because that's the whole purpose of you as a leader in that team, is that you are performing a goal and task that get the organization to its goal, which is satisfying the customer. So just make sure that as you're providing a what team goal, that you are making sure you are aligning that to the organizational goal, and making sure you have traceability all the way through, which then goes to your own individual goal as a leader.
Yes.
Right? And part, I would say, of your individual goal is making sure you got traceability up and down. Right? So somewhere in your own goal plan, your own personal leadership goals should be, did I set goals that is traceable for my team to perform? Did all of that align to where the organization is going? And that should be part of your individual goals as a leader.
Although we touched on SMART as a framework that you can use to make sure you've got completeness of a goal, I think OKR is another great framework to make sure you have traceability.
Yes.
Right? So objective, key results, make sure that you've got a key result for every objective. And so combining those two together, so you have your OKRs, which you set, and I want to come back to it, because I've seen some OKRs that are not OKRs.
Yes. Yes.
Not every task is an OKR.
Right.
Not every goal is an OKR. The purpose of OKR is just to make sure you have alignment to what is going to win, which is about delivering to the customer.
Yes.
Your objectives that you're going after, you should be able to hear your customer say. Or is this what our customers would say the win is? If you can't hear your customer say it, then that's not an objective.
Right.
Then you can get your key results. Your key results are aligned to your objectives. And then from that you can say, okay, here are the goals
Yes.
that go along with achieving these key results
Yes.
that are tied to the objectives. And so it goes objective, key result, goals.
Yes.
And if they are all smart and they're all transparently measured using either your operational scorecard or your strategic scorecard, then you've got it in the bag. Now, I know there's the camp that feels goal setting is a waste of time and that performance management conversations are a waste of time. And done incorrectly, they are.
Yes.
There's a lot of either lack of knowledge or inexperience that can cause folks to feel that way. As the organization and the number of people that are engaged in delivering on the mission scales, it's really hard if you don't have a way of making sure that everyone's aligned in delivering on the objectives of the company. And so I absolutely understand the thinking and the rationale behind, oh, well, we just need to get in here and do good work, which is true. But as you scale, it's really important to make sure that you know with a capital K that everyone's doing good work.
Yes.
And you cannot manage what you can't see. And you can't see what you aren't counting. You have to be able to measure it. Having that framework in place is a great way to do it.
I'm not sure who's in that other camp. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Because how do you know what good work is or how do you know where you're going without goals? I mean, you couldn't even personally know where you are in life if you didn't set personal goals. So that would be somebody saying, I don't need any life goals. I'm just going to go out and do good work. I mean, I guess you can live that way.
Yes, and some people do.
That is an interesting
choice.
Yeah, that's an interesting mindset.
Yes.
I don't know how that works. I honestly don't. But okay. And you get what you measure.
Yes.
So if you're not setting any goals and you're not measuring anything, but I've done good work or I've done some work, I just don't see how you claim the win, how you claim success. So it's just interesting when you said that. I'm thinking, who is in that camp and how are they functioning?
Well, what I would offer to answer your somewhat rhetorical question,
Yes.
but I'll answer it anyway. There are people who can make it work off of talent. The great thing about talent is when you have it, it's a wonderful thing. Processes sustain,
Yes.
where talent may be lacking.
Yes.
Which is why my perspective is like, yeah, you can absolutely get a bunch of talented people together and they can knock it out. But if you want to scale it, where either because you can't afford to have all A players or diversity demands that you have a multitude of different perspectives in order to be successful,
Yes.
you're going to need a process.
Yes.
While process and talent aren't opposites of each other, they absolutely are able to exist together. You're going to need a process if you want to scale.
Yes.
And so I totally get that if you're working in a small startup, there's a handful of you all, maybe you don't need a performance management process. Maybe you don't need to set goals. Maybe it's okay that you're just getting in there and making it happen. But I think the fallacy is that works at scale.
Yes.
What may work locally can work globally. It's just not real. When you're talking about multiple, when you get over the tens of people.
Yes.
If all you've done is work in startups, then of course you're going to have the perspective, because I've worked in a startup and I get it. You get in there and you make it work. That will not scale.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Because the other part that's a huge benefit of setting really good goals, smart goals, is development comes from that, right? And not development in terms of performance management.
Yes.
Those are two separate things. But development being, I'm either gonna identify and close a gap through my development, or I'm going to increase my skill set and ability through development. And that all comes from knowing where I am. And knowing where I am is measured against the goal that was set. Again, I think you would miss
Yes.
one of the key benefits of setting really good goals, which is development, either to close a gap or enhance my skills and ability through knowing where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, again, that has happened for me throughout my career, and I try to provide that as a leader, to use those opportunities in my coaching and one-on-one conversations to say, all right, here was the goal and the expectations. You're solid. You're meeting everything that we needed to do, and you've done a wonderful job. But where do we go from here based on now a larger goal, more opportunity, a different direction, and a new goal? And that then spurs development, which, we put that plan in place, and now they have a goal to achieve through that development plan. Just wanted to point out that being one of the key benefits in a leader having a good goal process, it being smart, everybody knowing their place in it, and then on the other side of that, using the development process to help people grow.
That's an important point. And so I want to be cautious around the turning of the dial on goals. So one of the failures, I think, in terms of goal setting that can happen, you have been successful, you've set the goal, and now you've hit that goal, and you're going to say, okay, now let's ramp it up. Let's tension the goal. And so, because what can happen is, like, wait a minute, you moved the bar on me. We had an agreement around what the win would look like. I achieved the win. And therefore, I feel as an employee, and whether I'm a leader or individual contributor, that you set the goal that's tied to my compensation, tied to my reward, and now you want to, because I hit it, you want to raise the bar? And so you have to be very careful how you do that. One, you need their buy-in.
Yes, 100%.
Because what's going to happen if they hit the first goal and then you tension it and then they miss it? And so you want to be very clear about how that is going to work.
Yes.
And the other possible failure mode is around setting the goal at the exceeds expectation level. What should be written down is fully meeting. Like, here's the goal that says, yes, you have earned your compensation.
Yes.
Right? So, because let's get real, that's exactly what this is about. Did you earn the money that we paid you? And does that qualify you for additional bonus possibilities?
Yes.
And so, if you write the goal at the exceeds expectation level, it's out of alignment.
Yes.
Also, if you wrote the goal at the does not meet or under meets, whatever vocabulary your company chooses to use, underperforming, if you set the goal there, then you have another problem, you have a different problem, in which case you get rating inflation.
Yes.
Because the goals aren't set appropriately. So you have to make sure that for the rank and role and responsibilities of each person, that the goals are set at the fully meeting level.
Yes.
And you have to be super careful that if they meet those goals early, and you want to tension them, which is the right thing to do as a leader, that you do that very carefully, very deliberately, and with complete buy-in.
Yes. I know we're at time, but you just brought one thing for clarity around that. And it was moving the goalposts.
Yes.
Right? Is the term. Right? I made the goal and I'm going to move the goalposts and say, try that one. The appropriate way to do that is to, when they are meeting the goals, is to set a developmental goal. That means that performance goal that you set stays in place. But the developmental goal is a separate goal that doesn't impact their performance rating, still that fully meets, but that gives them something in extension to say, here's an opportunity for you to learn and grow that doesn't impact your performance rating and your goal that we set. But anybody, and maybe it's just me,
Mm-hmm.
that once I hit the goal, I don't want to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm coming back to my leader like, okay, what else is there for me?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't want you to move the goalpost, so that's a great point.
Yes.
Right? Don't move the goalpost on me and say, okay, now you made it at 20 yards, now you need to make it 50. Whoa, wait a minute, I never tried 50. But if you tell me that's developmental and I'm still expected to at least hit 20, then I'm good. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to shoot for 50 because 20 is not easy for me. So as a leader, there's your balance and a way to make sure you are growing your people. Because if everybody's just hitting fully meets, then the question becomes, all right, do you have the right set of goals?
Mm-hmm.
Does the team have the right set of team goals and individually? So you just have to your point, strike that balance.
Yeah, and I think coming back to, we do need to do a follow-up on the difference between performance and developmental goals.
Yes.
Right, so we're touching on it,
Yes.
but we should circle back around and be like, here's what those things are, how they're different, and why you would use one
Yes.
over the other, and vice versa. And so we will, in a future episode, circle back around and talk about that. As we wrap up this episode, we talked about goal setting, team goals versus individual goals and how to set those. We talked about why they're important, why you need both. We talked about a framework, both OKRs and SMART, and we dove into really how to make sure that you're using that framework, why it's valuable, and why it's so important to get it right. And so that's the time that we have today, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in to Leadership Unfiltered. We hope you have found value in our conversation and are ready to take action in your leadership journey. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And don't forget to connect with us on social media for more leadership insights and resources. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.